relationships, right? So what's healthy is that you know yourself and that you and your spouse have a conversation about that, right? Because automatically, if I get real quiet, my husband knows, like, oh, I ain't bothering with her, right? He knows, and I know him. Like, oh, okay, he watching his football. I'm gonna let him be, right? Like, you learn this stuff about your relationship. So there's going to be times where you have to deal with the feelings of rejection. So if you know as a single person that you don't like to feel rejection, it makes you feel some type of way, that is something you absolutely have to work on in order to be in a successful relationship. You have to work on that. Like, what is it? What is it about the rejection that brings up that stuff? Okay.
Mm. Wow.
When we move on to three.
Yeah, you can go to three.
Okay, so another one is that we all have the same interests. So when you're in a relationship, people, I heard you say, Kiara, that people mirror your behavior, right? So they may all of a sudden want to do what you do. No, they don't like that. They don't like going to the mall. They don't really want to go to the mall with you, right? But because we dating and I want you to know, that I'm here for you, that they may try, right? So that's why it's so important to date people for a period of time because the true self do surface. And then that's something that you want to be mindful of. It's okay if y'all do not have all the same interests, right?
Mhm.
That makes the relationship a little bit spicier in a sense, right? But what is important is that sometimes it's the smallest interest that can bring out so much, right? So if you like to read certain books or like the Bible, your religion or your spirituality, if that's similar, that brings out so much more than liking the same car, liking sports, or whatever the case may be. Sometimes it's those little things, or like knowing that he likes to go on walks. I like to go on walks too, right? So sometimes it's those little interests that can spark so much in a relationship. So being single, be mindful of that. What you like is what you like. It's okay. You don't have to make your partner like what you like, right? Because you're not going to like everything that he likes. But those little things that you guys do like together, appreciate that, value that.
Yeah.
Okay, number four.
Let's see.
So,
Somebody said a relationship comes with highs and lows. Sometimes you're gonna argue. Yeah, and Katie addressed that, like arguing in a healthy way.
mhm,
Let's see. Okay.
yeah. So yeah, arguments are absolutely healthy, but it's how you do it. I'm
Mm.
not saying get with an abuser. Nobody needs to call names. You can definitely disagree to disagree, right? That's okay. You guys are two different people, two different beliefs, and two different views, right? It's all about learning how to have this disagreement and come into a mutual understanding. Which brings me to my fourth myth is that you don't argue in relationships, right? That's
Mhm.
a myth. You absolutely do. You're going to have conflict. And one thing that I think is so, so important about conflict is to understand that people are always changing, right? You mature in certain areas. Sometimes you guys change together and sometimes you don't, right? But what we don't want to do is speak negative about other people's change, right? Because everybody has their own growth pattern. So as the partner, because we talk about you when you're in a relationship, it's a partnership. It's not, oh, why you still want to do that? He may not be there yet. And so you have to move along, work on you if you feel growth, and then coast him along the way. He'll get there. But you have to be that team player because guess what? In some other areas where you may not be mature yet, right? Like materialistically, you may still want to keep up with the Jones. And he may be like, no, we working on us, right? So pay attention to your partner. It is a partnership. And so when you have your disagreements, it's all about how you guys came come to that mutual understanding. Okay? And how you do it. Respect. Respect is big. Do you respect your partner enough where you're not cursing him out and going off on him in front of other people? Because that messes with egos. And egos are big in relationships. All right. Number five, going to couples therapy means that your relationship is at the break end. Fall. Now, what I will say when it comes to people of color, when I see them in the therapy session, they do be at the end. But that's because of education, right? When it
Mhm.
comes to therapy, we already know people of color just don't use it as a tool early on, right? But I'm here to tell you that just because people go to therapy does not mean that that's the end of the relationship. Therapy actually should be used in the beginning of the relationship and definitely in the relationship. And if you need it at the end, it's also a good thing. So I see people throughout the whole process. Why therapy is important for relationships? Why do you guys think it's important? I want to see something in the comments. Because it helps you to not feel stuck, right? We don't have it all. There's times where you are so frustrated with that person, right? And instead of going out telling your friends and telling people your business, right? You want to have a therapist to talk things through.
Yeah,
Um,
somebody said it's always good to have a neutral person, just to hear both sides and to help with communication styles.
Absolutely, absolutely. You guys nailed it. Communication is key. It helps to give different insight and different ways to communicate. So you guys heard me say that um, people use it for different points of their relationship and a lot of people of color wait to the end. Well, sometimes at the end, they do want to stay together, but they just have so much stuff that they hadn't hashed through. So why wait till you have a big mess when you can work things through ahead of time with that person? So that's why therapy is so important throughout the whole process of a relationship.
Yeah, and somebody said it helps you process things together, and therapists they remain confident, right? Because, like you said, when you go back to your family and friends, it's gonna get everywhere.
Yeah.
It's gonna get messy. So go to
Therapists have
somebody.
to keep a confidentiality. Absolutely. They
Yeah.
cannot tell your business. Matter of fact, if they see you around town, they not supposed to speak to you unless you speak. But I can't say, hey girl, we gonna see you therapy later. Like, no. We hold that because we can lose our license. So yes, that's very important to talk about. Yep.
Yeah, and somebody said that therapists can see the holes in your relationship where you can make adjustments.
Absolutely. And it brings you together. Like I do different types of techniques in therapy session where just reminding people, how did you first meet? That does something because it gets them talking about it again. Like, man, these feelings, they come back. Like it's a technique, you guys. Like I'm so excited and passionate because I love to have couples and to see them throughout all the stuff that they have going on, to see those lights light up in them when they say something as simple as, "This is how we met." You know?
Yeah. So is that all five, Katie?
Yes, that was all five.
Oh yes. Okay. So I want to talk about something, and I know we over time, ladies, but relationships is important, okay? And we deserve good, happy relationships. With a little argument, Katie say, with a little drama. But I want to go back to childhood, right? Because a lot of us haven't seen like what healthy relationships look like. So, and from childhood, and then when we watch Disney movies, it's this whole little fairy tale, and everything is going to be perfect and everything like that, right? So, how do we move forward from what we've seen in childhood to create the lives and marriages that we desire?
Yeah, so I like to tell couples that listen, we're all human. We all have our stuff, but do your own individual work first, right? So make sure you just really work on yourself. Know what issues you have, because sometimes we think we are past traumatic issues that happen, and believe it or not, it seems like when you're the most subtle, when you're trying to be happy, all that stuff comes up, right? And when we talked about female and male earlier, one thing about males is their stuff shows up differently than it does in females. Okay. So you may have an angry black male, and these are the signs of traumatic things that has happened. But again, communication. So just being able to have an open communication and talking about mental and emotional health early on in the dating, right? And amongst our children. Like, it's important. Let's normalize that, because that is how you have fruitful, successful relationships. And also, like, I'm gonna put religion in this, understanding your religious aspects. Like, if you're in a church, what is the message in the church about some of the traumatic things that may have happened to you? Because that is us, that is family. Our church environment is family. Our religious environment is part of who we are, and that impacts your trauma, believe it or not. Right. So that's why I say we have to do an all around assessment about everyone that's around us. Okay, people you grew up with, family, friends, all that stuff makes us.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Now let's shift it to you, Katie. What do you have going on in the future? I know we talked about a self-care challenge that you're having in November, and
Yeah.
that's going to shift you back into focusing on you, taking care of you,
Yeah.
healing you, getting you together. So when God bring that man, you are you already together, honey. Okay. Katie gonna get us
Yes,
together with this
absolutely.
self-care
So
challenge.
bringing it back to the individual, first you want to focus on yourself. So in the month of November, which is tomorrow, right? I'm doing
Yeah.
a self-care challenge. I'm doing a self-care challenge. So I just want you guys all to leave an email address or message me, and I will give you your free 30-day self-care challenge calendar for the month of November. And each day it will just have something simple for you to do to practice self care. We're going to apply self care, because we always talk about it. Oh, take care of yourself. Make sure you do this. And if you're following me on I Day Self Care, like, I give these tips, but let's apply it to our life. Let's figure out how we can get ourselves good so we can make good relationship choices.
Well, amen. You attract who you are, and those are universal laws, and that is true. What energy you put out come back to you. So thank you so much, Katie, for all the tips, and thank you so much for the time. And I want to say thank you so much for the call the other day. Some of you may have seen I was on a billboard the other day, and the only person who called, she said, Katie called me. She said, I had to call you and tell you congratulations. So that says so much about you. She said social media is not enough. I have to call you. So I want to say thank you so much, Katie. I really appreciate you in my life. I really appreciate all that you've been doing for these ladies, all you've been doing for your group, for your businesses, for your family. And we wish you so much success.
Yes, thank you. Women support women, baby. That's the message, and that's what you do, you guys. So, you guys, so into this platform, because we all want to be heard. We all have businesses. It is so important. I get support from me, that energy again, from me supporting others. So, Kiara, you need to put your Cash App up.
So if you want to support this platform, the Cash App is Ambitious Women Win, right? And we'll put that up after this. And you guys can sow into this platform, sow into this community. If you love this content, if you love everything that we have going on, just sow into this platform and community. So everybody, y'all have an amazing Sunday. Is there anything else you want to leave with us, Katie, before we leave? We wait. Anything else?
Live in the moment. Just love on yourself and love on the people who love on you, and love on people who don't.
All right, y'all. Bye.